Have you guys tuning in, and let me remind you that you can continue sending in your feedback, your questions and your comments to 22999. You can also reach me on social media at SwitchTVKE, on Instagram at SwitchTVKenya, on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to follow me along as well at Joyce Omondi on those platforms. I did mention that in this next segment we're going to be touching on natural hair, and some of you have already started sending in questions. I told the sisters I'm going to come through for them though today. I know a lot of guys really struggle with their natural hair, and hopefully today you can find some answers as we go through this particular segment. With me here, I have Lynn Gitahi, who's a natural hair enthusiast. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here.
Asante.
So we actually featured on the same natural hair campaign, but in different years of it. And I remember her hair was quite long, and then she cut it. Yeah, so it's an example that you don't have to be afraid of this. Like, our hair actually does grow, which you cut it means you're not afraid. Like, it can grow again.
Let me tell you, the very first time I cut it, I had long perm hair.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I was like, I need to cut it. It was just my season for it.
Yeah.
And after I cut it, I realized how liberating it is. That really, we hold on too much to our hair.
Yeah.
So after that, even trims were such a breeze. I was like, cut all that, those dead ends. I don't need to see them.
And isn't that the truth? Because so many people hold on to damaged ends because they want the length. Like, we want to walk and do this. Like,
and there's nothing that's as heartbreaking as seeing long hair that's mostly just damaged and dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't
and it
actually
makes
look
the rest
nice.
of your hair worse. So you're better off just, trimming it. Very, very important.
Agreed.
But great. Okay, Lynn, we already have some questions, but let me just start off here. Of course, in the last maybe 10 years now, there's sort of been a really big shift towards natural hair care. And you yourself were relaxed. I was relaxed at one point. Thank God we're over those days, and just learning to really embrace ourselves and how we were created, and to understand that our hair texture too is really beautiful, and it's very versatile as well. But a lot of people really do struggle. And I don't know what you would call or classify their main struggle as. Is it a failure to understand their hair type and their hair texture and what it needs? Or is it just this incessant rush to say that I have long hair and I can swish it around?
That's such a good question. I would start with expectations. I feel that a lot of people, when they first go natural, they have this expectation that their hair will look a certain way.
Yeah.
So
or behave like it did when it was permed.
There's that, or it will look like Lynn's hair does. So I know I met a lot of people who would come up to me and be like, "Oh, what did you do to your hair?" So that I want to do the same to mine.
Right.
And I would be a bit sad, because I'm like, I will tell you what I did, and then you go and do it, and it will not achieve the same results. So I feel the first thing is people have, I don't know if I can call them unrealistic expectations, or just expectations that are just not going to work for you. So the best thing is, take your hair for what it is. My advice is always, it's first of all, it's going to take time, and then secondly, get to know your own hair. Your own hair has its own unique beauty, and it's only you who can unlock it by just interacting with it. Don't get scared to get in there and learn what your hair is like. It's not so much even about hair type, because hair type can get scientific and you can get stuck there. I was there once. I was stuck at my hair type is 4A, so it should look like this, and then it didn't. So I was in that bandwagon, basically. So I feel like the first place to start is expectations, and the second place is take your hair for what it is, get to know it, and then you'll get the results. Might not look exactly what you like what you wanted, but it will still be beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I totally hear you, because I get a lot of DMs like those, like, which ni mafuta gani unapakanga, oh ni sijui nini, and it's not necessarily about the product sometimes. Like, to me also, the technique and how you handle your hair is so critical. And I know we're going to be touching on that in just a little bit, but maybe just a little bit about your own natural hair journey. Just tell us a bit, how was that for you?
Wow. Okay. So I went natural 7 years ago. I was counting the years, and just, I was surprised by myself. And let's just say, when I first went natural, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But the moment I cut it and decided, okay, let me research, because I have short hair and I want it to look in a certain way. Let me research, and I found so much information out there. thankfully, you know, I got into it in a good time. And it just basically revolutionized how I looked at natural hair and how I looked at myself as a woman. So over the years, I basically experimented so much, experimented with products, experimented with techniques and styles. And then with time, of course, it grew. So I went through the short, the cut, then I went through the awkward phase, which I'm almost getting to right now. Then I got to now the long hair. And throughout that journey, honestly, it felt like I was raising a child because you get a handle of it when it's short, and then you think you know what to do, and then it grows. It has a growth spurt, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't respond to the things you used to do. So you have to learn new things again, unlearn some things, and relearn some things. But throughout that entire journey, it was very fulfilling. It was, I mean, like I said, there's a freedom and a liberty you get from, first of all, letting go of hair, letting go of a certain standard of beauty, and taking on what you have. And that's why I was able to cut it again now last year, and just decided, you know, I can start again. It's gonna grow and have fun with it. So I would just call it. It's just been such a beautiful and rewarding, rewarding journey.
Yeah, it really is rewarding, especially when you realize, I mean, for women, and let's not deny it, like our hair has such a strong linkage to even our own identity and our sense of beauty, and you know, it's like your crown. And so a lot of us have self-esteem issues that are literally caught up within our hair. But hopefully today's discussion can give you a few pointers as far as what you can do just to improve the state and the quality of your hair. And so for someone who's beginning, maybe they are actually thinking of transitioning now. They've been doing these relaxers. And, you know, even for me, part of the transition was just realizing how much, like, it's chemicals, right? Like, it's toxic to your body, to your head. So maybe they're at that point where they're saying, you know what, my hair is already severely damaged from these chemicals and relaxers, I need to switch over. Or they've just started and then they're like, Maze, things are thick. Vitu quadrantly different. What would you say are sort of like the basic things a naturalista should have or should start with?
Okay. I like to also always start by saying, you know, congratulations, you took the leap, and now you've come to the other side and realized, wow, I didn't know what I got myself into. But it's not as hard as it looks.
That's right.
It's not as difficult, and you don't need much. So I would caution many against that whole, you went natural.
In the beginning, we go broke because we're buying every product.
Thank you, is what I was going to say. Why do you walk into a place and buy a whole range of products and you have no idea what they do? So I always say first of all, start with the cheap stuff.
Yes, and water is your best friend.
Exactly. Water is free, first of all, and it's your best friend. And then you can add simple things to it if you really want to, like, make it, you know, take it to the next level. Like you can put aloe vera juice and whatnot. So anyway, the first key thing for naturalistas, when you go natural, I think you should focus on the health of your hair.
That's right.
How do you get that? Simple products like, as you said, water, moisture. We need moisture 24/7 for our hair. Our hair is not like other hair types all over the world. It requires extra care when it comes to moisture. And the first place you get moisture from is water. So in case you always wonder why people say water, that's why.
Let me tell you, one of the things that was so liberating for me when I went natural is I was never a shower cap babe anyways, but like I'm just not afraid to get rained on because I know my hair is thriving right now.
Thank you.
I'll just make sure I go and, you know, put some oil afterwards and twist it up so that it doesn't poof. But you don't need to be afraid of water.
Exactly. Isn't that sad? Like, African girls are afraid of water everywhere in the world.
And then, you know, when the plastic ban happened, I wonder what some babes are doing.
There are some people used to do shower capes, by the way, and you know, they were working it. I know, right? So yeah, so you do your water, and then of course you want to get your oils. So I mean, oils, I feel like is everyone knows that. But which oils? I would just say start with the simple ones. Start with extra virgin olive oil. If you can afford it, go to extra virgin coconut oil because we know it's not cheap. You can go to sweet almond oil, which is my personal favorite, and you can get that one in supermarkets almost everywhere. So start with just, you know, those few basics. And when it comes to olive oil, by the way, just go to your kitchen. Don't go far. Just if you already have it in your kitchen, use that one. Then I would recommend, of course, now the normal for everyone with hair, basically every girl with hair, conditioner and shampoo. So my only piece of advice for this is take things that don't have sulfates.
Yeah.
Sulfates just really dry out our hair.
Yeah.
So if you can find something that doesn't have sulfates. In
And
fact,
it
I
should
recommend
say sulfate-free shampoo.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. In fact, the more free it says, like sulfate-free, paraben-free, mineral oil-free, that's perfect for you. But sulfate is the most important. I have something here called a shampoo bar. So it's basically, it's like a soap. It's soap that is for your hair.
Okay.
And I think it's one of the best because it's natural. You'll get
Okay.
them, it's usually made with shea butter, sometimes with cocoa butter and oils, and then of course the component that makes it soap.
Right.
Which I think is the best for our hair, and it's usually more affordable.
Yeah.
And it's just the easier way to go instead of thinking, now which shampoo do I use, which brand? So just look for brands that have shampoo bars and you're good to go.
Okay.
And then of course a treatment.
Yeah.
Very important to have.
I
a
think to
deep
me
treatment.
that's one of the most important. And anyway, I was
Yes.
doing that even when I was relaxed. But there's just because again you've said our hair texture really dries out.
Yes.
Okay, so it's very important for you to be infusing as much moisture as you can. So all you babes who are walking around with your hair that's breaking around like crisps, that's the first problem.
And it
Yeah,
won't
your
grow.
hair is too dry, and if your hair is dry, it breaks.
Yes.
And then you say it's not growing. But the other thing is to remind people that your hair is actually growing.
Exactly. I love that you've said that. So a lot of people say, oh, my hair doesn't grow. It's not like yours, Lane, because people assume that mine is just growing fast. There is an element to it. But the trick is if you have hair growing out of your scalp, but at the ends there's no care for it,
Right.
it
It will
grows
break.
and then it breaks, and then it's
Right.
growing and then it breaks. So it pretty much seems stagnant, but it's because you're losing so much length
Yeah.
from your ends. But if
Yeah.
you take care of the ends, which is mostly just giving the care and the moisture and less manipulation, stop with the constant styling, stop with the, just nasumbua nywele, stop with it, and your hair will show you some length.
Absolutely. Take care of it, it will take care of you.
Exactly.
And you know what? We're going to have to save some sisters' edges in a few moments here, okay? And talk about the gels and the edges. Everybody wants these slicked edges, and they're there with their toothbrushes and whatnot every single day.
Put it down.
We're going to talk about that as well. But let me get to some questions here. Someone here is saying, my name is Faith Kendi. Maybe I'll read like 2 or 3 of them at a time.
Okay.
My name is Faith Kendi from Utawala. What are the best products to make my natural hair curly? Okay. Hey Joyce, how can I fix rough ends on my 4C hair without having to trim it? Maybe we can start with those two.
All right. So the products, the one for curls. Let me say that you're going to discover this through some experimentation.
Yeah.
For example, I came to learn that my hair has natural curls. So all our hairs have naturally
curl
occurring
pattern.
curl
Yeah.
pattern. And what products do is basically to help either bring it out or hold it. So of course you'll hear a lot of people who say use gel. So I use gel, it works for me because then it's able to just hold the curl there. But you don't achieve the curls by using specific products. You actually achieve it through techniques.
That's right.
So you can either achieve it through doing a twist out, for example, or you can do, there's a technique I use with like what I've done right now. It's called shingling. So I'll just take a small portion of my hair and run product through it, like between my fingers, and then I let go.
Okay.
So the curls will form naturally, and then whatever product I've used will probably help it hold.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You can do a braid out.
exactly.
There's many things that
you
you
can
could
do the knot out.
Right.
So you'll be able to achieve it with that. Product just helps to hold.
And for this one who's saying they want to fix their rough ends without having to trim it.
I think, unfortunately, if it's rough, it's probably because they're split ends, which means you do have to trim it.
Yeah.
I know it's not the answer they wanted to hear, but
Yeah.
that's likely the solution.
Okay.
If you don't think that they are split ends, because you can also get a hairdresser to give you advice about that. If they're not split ends, then just do some hydration treatment for it. Keep putting some treatment on it. In fact, like whenever you're doing treatment on your hair, put a lot more on the ends and then let it stay there longer.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
When you're putting oil, concentrate on your ends.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't rub too much on them.
And the technique is very, me, I can't stand when you pass by a salon and you see someone is inside there and the way they're putting they're just doing this to, our hair is not jungu hair. Just please don't do that.
Even mine at this length, if I do that, nothing. I'm not going to achieve
Tangles,
anything.
everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't do that. Don't do
exactly.
that. Your hair, treat it like a baby.
Treat it with love.
Love it.
Yes.
Someone here this is a great question. What is the difference between a deep conditioner and a protein treatment?
I
Because
love
we've
that.
talked a lot about moisture.
Yes.
But we also need to strengthen the hair at some point. Yeah.
All right. So deep treatment is basically for deep moisture. It goes ahead. We like to use it when we put treatment on the hair when it's wet, and then leave it on for some time so that it infuses. And that's supposed to be done every week or every 2 weeks at the most, or at the least rather. And then when it comes to protein treatments, now protein basically is something that helps to strengthen your hair. Protein will coat the shafts of your hair. The shaft is basically, the length of the hair, and helps to just strengthen it. But you have to use it sparingly. Not all hair takes to protein well. There are some that are very protein sensitive, which means that if you use too much, then it dries it out and basically will get it to break.
Okay.
So you use it sparingly, maybe once a month, or once in 3 months, or once even in 6 months, depending on how sensitive your hair is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I literally have to wrap up now, but let me just go through these and we can just do like yes or no answers to them, or very brief answers.
Okay.
Here we go. I'd want to inquire how to make relaxed hair natural.
You cut it.
You cut it, my dear. You can't, it's not going to revert back, because the process of putting chemical has changed the hair strand, right?
It's called permanent.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to cut it.
Absolutely. Okay. Someone here is asking about edges and, growing their edges. And maybe we need to talk about heat and styling.
Yes. All right. So when it comes to edges, first of all, leave them alone. Just don't bother them. Especially, I see a lot of people doing a lot of edge control and putting them down.
Right.
Try not to do that if you're really trying to recover your hairline. When it comes to heat, please go to a professional, because heat is not our friend. Heat is not a friend of hair, especially for most people. Some of us can get away with it, but not everyone can. So go to a professional who's able to do it the right way. So they'll most likely infuse your hair with a lot of moisture, a lot of coconut oil, which actually really helps, before they come on and bring the heat onto the hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And same with color. Don't just go, again, all
you.
those chemical things that can be very damaging.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
wow, Lynn, I wish I had more time with you. Unfortunately, I do have to take a break,
Don't
though.
worry.
Thank you very much for coming.
welcome.
Here, very quickly, of course, you can see, in addition to the products, she talked about, she's brought, a satin scarf. How you cover your hair at night, very important too, and the tools, the combs that you use.
Can I just say that the satin scarf or a pillowcase is the difference between your curls popping and not?
Yes.
For real, all that friction that your hair has with the pillow or the bed is probably the reason you're not able to achieve certain curls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you still blogging? Do you have a way that people can get in touch with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me on Instagram at Lynsheri. That's LYNNSHERI. I'm not at the moment on my channel back yet, but soon enough.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you
we
for
do
having
appreciate
me.
you. All right, guys. Oh, man, unfortunately, time is running this morning, but we need to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about expectations versus reality. And clearly, as you can see, it applies even to our hair care. But that conversation will be coming up next, as well as the Nifunze e-learning platform here for grade 4 English today is the subject for the day. Okay, so we'll see you at the top of the hour.